And I could go on because he's got 91 counts pending right now. But I will tell you what the president has been guilty of. He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally, and that is the only evidence that they have brought forward. And honestly, I hope and pray that my parents love me half as much as he loves his child. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States. And I will yield.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So I want to talk a little bit about the impeachment inquiry that we watched yesterday. And I guess, if I had to sum it up quick, we'd say that one side was showing what any reasonable person would consider evidence, and that at least proves something is going on here. And we need to all get together, Congress, and do a deep dive on this stuff and ensure that everything is on the level. And of course, the Democrats playing complete apologists, complete protectionists for their party and their president at the expense of us, the American people, and their sworn duty to the Constitution. Everything they're confronted with, they cry no evidence. They pretend they don't believe it, although they do. They assure the voters that this doesn't prove anything. And my thing is this: all pieces of evidence taken individually, maybe that's true. Maybe each one doesn't prove without a doubt or whatever. But collectively, how can you sit there and deny 15 different things that all point to the same direction? How can you say that proves nothing? You're the party that claims to uphold democracy above all things, and enabling, to be done to our country what you're enabling right now. That is not upholding democracy. And here are the things that they're denying: pictures, emails, voicemails, meeting logs, phone calls, bank accounts, Chinese wires right to Joe's freaking doorstep. And they say none of this is actual evidence of anything. According to them, you need to literally be caught standing over a body with a still smoking gun in your hand, screaming that you did it, in order for anyone to prove anything. That, guys, is completely insane. Anyway, if you guys watched it, let me know in the comments if you agree with that. If you didn't watch it, there were a couple of great moments, but if you ask me, Byron Donalds absolutely stole the show, laid it out perfectly. Take a look at this.
And Mr. Dubinsky, I want to come to you quickly. A lot of talk about evidence. On the screens in the room, we have an organizational chart from the IRS investigative team that was looking into the business practices of Hunter Biden and his associates. This org chart is from 2014. Now, Mr. Dubinsky, when my former life, I was in community banking, and I'm comfortable with looking at organizational charts. When I first saw this chart, the first thing I thought about was a real estate holding company or a developer, and this is not to demean developers in the great East State of America, but developers typically have multiple companies that float with various business interests and business lines. But the funny thing is that in the business dealings of Hunter Biden, there is no real estate, none at all. So, Mr. Dubinsky, in your professional experience, looking at this organizational chart of business structure, what do you see here?
I see a very complicated structure of entities that are interrelated and would give me concern. If I were an investigator, I would want to know what's going on in these entities, who's behind them, how's the money moving between them, and what is the substance of the transactions? What's really going on here?
Mr. Dubinsky, do you think it's in the interest of this committee that is now in an inquiry phase to actually find out all of the flow of money between these entities and what the purpose was?
Absolutely.
Next slide, please. Now, this is to a text message. This is a text message between, it's going to Naomi Biden. That's what this one is. Hold on, wait, so let me get my stuff back. There we go. Sorry. This is the WhatsApp text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. In this text message, it clearly says, anyway, we can talk later, but you've been drawn into something purely for the purpose of protecting Dad. This is between Hunter Biden and Jim Biden. Last time I checked, the father of Jim Biden and Joe Biden is now passed away. So I'm assuming this is Hunter Biden saying to Jim Biden, the president's brother, that you've been brought in this for the sole purpose of protecting Dad. Miss O'Connor, do you think that this text message would lead this committee to get further information about the business dealings of Hunter Biden and how that actually links to Jim Biden, the president's brother, and why they are so concerned with protecting Dad, a.k.a. Joe Biden, a.k.a. the President of the United States?
Yes.
Thank you. Next slide, please. This is a text message between Hunter Biden and Naomi Biden. And this one is a famous one. Everybody knows this one. This is the famous one that says, I hope you all do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard. But don't worry, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. Mr. Dubinsky, if you saw a text message like this in a potential money laundering operation or a potential pay-for-play operation, would you be looking for information related to money going from son to father?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Thank you. Next slide. Oh, this is a fun one. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is from 2018. This is about 4 months before Joe Biden launched his campaign for president of the United States, December 2018. The highlight is, this is a text message between Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden was in a bad way, by the way. He was really strung out. He lost a bunch of money. He needed help. Jim Biden says, this can work. You need a safe harbor. I can work with your father alone. It'll probably take several months and everybody can read the text. Ms. O'Connor, Mr. Dubinsky, if you saw a text message like this between the president's brother and the president's son, wouldn't you be concerned about them trying to give plausible deniability for the president of the United States to not have any knowledge of said business dealings?
It's worth.
Gentleman's time's expired, but please answer the question.
It's worth investigating.
Mr. Dubinsky?
I would agree. I would investigate this.
I yield back.
Yeah, man. So just so we're clear, AOC thinks that you're stupid and that you actually believe her. She thinks that you'll believe anything that she says, and she thinks you'll believe that with all this insane evidence, the mountain of evidence that's available, that a sitting congressperson would have to manufacture evidence. And the ironic thing is, she complains about the man, not providing the direct screenshot while also submitting evidence that wasn't the direct screenshot herself. So here's what she was talking about. She's talking about a message found on the iCloud backup on Hunter Biden's laptop. And it basically is Hunter Biden complaining to his uncle, Joe's brother, that he's out of cash because the alimony was killing him, and saying that, he can't pay the alimony without dad's help. The same dad that the libs are going to tell you did not have intermixed finances with his deadbeat son. So here's what the message from the brother back says. Quote, this can work. We just need to get you safe harbor. I can work with your father alone. We, as usual, just need several months of his help for this to work. Let's talk about it. This makes perfect sense to me. So I got to ask you guys, man, does that sound to you like Joe is or is not involved in whatever the family business was, which, side note, they still haven't told us what the family business supposedly is. So I'll ask another question. Does the full context change the implication of Joe's guilt? Does she really believe this, or was she just hunting sound bites? Like I said, I'm sure that's what it was. Joy Reid glommed onto it. That's all they talk about, little sound bites just like that. No proof, nothing. But, I honestly still can't believe the things that these people are saying in order to hide what these corrupt and powerful people were up to. And it's crazy, man. But AOC, she wasn't even the worst one. Check out this crazy freaking Texan lady. And she's going to go back to the well with probably the most ridiculous cover-up narrative that they've tried on us. And she's going to tell us once again that this is not about crimes, but this is just about a father's deep, unwavering, and commendable love for his last remaining son. And also, somehow, she finds a way to talk about Trump as if it's relevant. But it's all pretty impressive. Take a look at this.
Direct testimony of the 4 individual witnesses here today are the bona fide words that this committee must use in order to proceed or substantiate an investigation. And I want to emphasize why that's important. Earlier today, one of our colleagues, a gentleman from Florida, presented up on this screen something that appeared to be a screenshot of a text message containing or insinuating an explosive allegation. That screenshot of what appeared to be a text message was a fabricated image. It was a fabricated image. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was the staff of the committee, but it was not the actual direct screenshot from that phone. And in fact, I would like to submit to the committee the actual full context from from the Ziegler affidavit number 1, exhibit 402, of the full text of that exchange. Do I have permission from the chair? Importantly, what was brought out from that fabricated image excluded critical context that changed the underlying meaning and allegation that was presented up on that screen by this committee and by members of this committee. Now, they are well within their right to do that because they are covered by the speech and debate clause. This was not submitted by a material or fact witness under oath. That was not submitted by a material or fact witness under oath.
Yeah, dude. So that is just embarrassing. And did you see the guy next to her? Like, look at his face. It's pretty funny. I think he couldn't decide if he should ask her out or literally run like hell. It's kind of like he was at the bar. But here's the thing. I've got bad news for the Congresswoman. There are people starving in our streets. There are 1-year-old babies dying from fentanyl poisoning in New York City. And she's not doing shit about it. You know, nor will keeping her bloated and out of control federal government open do anything about it. You know, she does not care. She doesn't care about anything other than her party keeping this illusion of power. That's it. And back to what she had to say, you know, I got to tell her, if she wants to know if her parents love her as much as Joe loves his kids, just go ask your dad to take a shower with you. See what he says. And, you know, you'll have your answer. But anyway, completely insane. I still can't believe how crazy this is. But, you know, again, I've got to ask these people, you know, when they complain that they should be doing the work of the people, I got to ask, what did you think was going to happen when you ran 2 bogus impeachments? Nothing but time and money sucks. You know, one after the man was even out of office. And then you decide to install a president with this kind of baggage. That just doesn't make sense. What did you think was going to happen? I mean, really, what did you think was going to happen? And what do you think is going to happen now? How long do you think that you'll be able to claim no evidence? You know, Comer's already said that the subpoena of Joe, his brother, and his son bank accounts, they're going to get every bit of it through this process.
I can't seem to find the crime. And honestly, no one has testified of what crime they believe the president of the United States has committed. But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the shitter to me. This looks like more evidence of our national secrets, say on a stage at Mar-a-Lago. When we're talking about somebody that's committed high crimes, it's at least indictments. Let's say 32 counts related to unauthorized retention of national security secrets, 7 counts related to obstructing the investigation, 3 false statements, 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, falsifying business records, conspiracy to defraud the United States, 2 counts related to efforts to obstruct the vote certification proceedings, 1 count of conspiracy to violate civil rights, 23 counts related to forgery or false document statements, 8 counts related to soliciting, and I could go on because he's got 91 counts pending right now. But I will tell you what the president has been guilty of. He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally, and that is the only evidence that they have brought forward. And honestly, I hope and pray that my parents love me half as much as he loves his child. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States. And I will yield.
Yeah, man, without a doubt. This inquiry should continue. It needs to continue. They need to keep gathering evidence. And honestly, I believe anyone who thinks that it shouldn't is only worried about political power and honestly more worried about what they will find out or what we'll all find out on the other end of this. Any reasonable person would look at this stuff and not just want to know, but absolutely need to know. Anyway, guys, that's just my take. Let me know yours in the comments. If you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.
The witnesses today have all identified the evidence the committee has uncovered as deserving further inquiry. And that is what this committee will do, no matter where that evidence leads. I want to thank the witnesses for their testimony today. It confirms the evidence compiled by this committee justifies the investigation of Joe Biden's role in his family's international business schemes and justifies the next step of this investigation. One of those steps is gaining insight into where the Biden's foreign money ended up, for what purposes. Therefore, today, I will subpoena the bank records of Hunter Biden, James Biden, and their affiliated companies.
What's next, Congresswoman?
Well, we're going to subpoena Hunter and Joe Biden, and I hope the American people are not getting their news and information from the actress who is named AOC and the left today who just denied, and lied throughout the entire hearing because they were unwilling to face the facts of evidence in text messages and emails, in meetings and phone calls of Joe Biden doing business with his son Hunter and his brother James. It's everywhere.
Some Republicans don't like the witnesses you guys led with today. Do you feel that same way?
Well, this was just a first hearing to show the baseline of what was legal and illegal behavior. And our witnesses are experienced in investigation, in tax law, and constitutional law, and can explain to the American people what is normal operating LLC and corporate behavior and what is illegal behavior. And they did a good job of showcasing that today. But of course, the drama on the left, the lies of the left, try to take over and take hold of the hearing.
What other type of witnesses are you guys presenting going forward?
Well, we will have witnesses. We will have other Biden crime family business partners in oversight. But also, I hope that we're going to subpoena, and the chairman said today, we're going to subpoena Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. We've got to get those bank records. I want the bookkeeper, Jesse, because somebody was keeping track of all of this money, millions and millions of dollars, and where it was going and whose bank account. I want the bookkeeper more than I want anybody else in this thing.
Well, the first Biden accountant died. And now it looks like Sherwin, or whatever his little name is, are you going to bring him in?
Well, I would love to see him come in. I want all of the whistleblowers, all of the witnesses, and all of the bookkeepers. I mean, if you remember, Jesse, in the 1023 document by the FBI, the Ukrainians, the Burisma executives bragged about how complicated it was. It would take the U.S. government 10 years to figure out how the money laundering happened. So we need every single book.